Want to get something off your chest? Interact with us in the live chat and WhatsApp us your messages on 0747 649 7166. This is The Black and White Show.
Good evening, everybody. Before I begin, I am burnt like a crisp.
So am I.
So is Kyle. This is the shortened down Black and White show tonight. You may have just heard Isha talk about WhatsApps. We're not actually taking any WhatsApps tonight, but we do want you to pop on screen as per usual with all the interactive shows that we'll be doing. We'll obviously be talking about the past 7 days of the news stuff, and then we'll try and be optimistic with Manchester City coming up on Sunday, but that'll be interesting as well. But yeah, so welcome to the Black and White show. So thank you very much for all of your custom tonight. Is that the right word, Kyle? Kyle, how are we doing?
I'm not doing too bad, barring a little bit of sunburn myself on me leg and my face and my arm. I'm not doing too bad. I wasn't expecting it to be so damn hot yesterday, but hopefully we'll get a bit of rain and it'll cool down a bit because it's been far too hot. But it's a typical British thing, isn't it, for to moan when it's too hot and moan when it's too cold. So I'm one of them. But I hope everybody in the stream's doing well tonight. And I'll forward me congratulations to Liverpool for winning the Premier League title last night as well. It's been a long time coming, and they definitely deserve to win it.
I would have to agree. They've been sensational this season as well. So any of our guests who appear on tonight, as standards, because we don't any funny business, everybody needs to be wearing a shirt tonight for obvious reasons. So please, if you are coming on, dress a little bit sensible because you'll get yourself and us into trouble as well. But we've got you've got some love there from Andrew.
Aye, spot on. It's an old one. This one, trying to impress Sam a little bit because with his collection, it's phenomenal. I'm gonna try not to embarrass myself too much when I do my collections video in a week or so. But European Cup, 2005, 2006. Correct us if I'm wrong. Third clip from that, yeah, beautiful.
I remember Shearer and Cliver in that. I don't know why.
Yeah. The one I remember is the one away from home, 1-0 in Europe. Cliver and Shearer played up front together. It was a better team back then, that's for sure.
I think we scored 5 away. Was it in Israel or something like that? I'm sure we scored something like a 5-2 away win as well.
A long away day. Never know, we may have a couple of them on the horizon if we get this takeover out of the way, but who knows?
Fingers crossed. Right, let's crack on with tonight's show. So we're going to just go back to off the field stuff. We're not really talking about the results as much because we've already done it on the channel. We don't want to repeat ourselves. If you want to check them videos out in the past week, have a look at them. But I want to begin, Kyle, earlier on this week, and it wasn't just Shola Amiobi saying that Steve Bruce has had a great job. It was several of people from pundits on Sky, BBC, even Shola, who was at the club as well. And this was before the Villa game, just after Sheffield United. And if I had said to you that 31 games in, we're on effectively 39 points, you would be laughing, wouldn't you, at the start of the season?
Well, when he took over, it was a very toxic environment. People weren't happy. Rafa walked out the door and left. People weren't happy with the season tickets going up, and there was a lot of protest and anguish about the season tickets. So, if you'd offered us then a quarter final, a good cup run to win the quarter final of the FA Cup, as bad as the cup run's been and frustrating, but we're there and comfortable in mid-table, I would have took it because I think it was Paddy Power that paid out on relegation before the season even started. So I think under the circumstances, Steve Bruce has done a brilliant job. There has been bad moments in the season, don't get us wrong. They're getting hummed off Leicester, getting beat off Norwich heavily. You've been all the games so you'll know which ones are the worst and which ones are the best. But under the circumstances, he's done a fantastic job. And I'd love to. He has done a fantastic job. And if the takeover miserably goes through, Bruce will probably be the man to keep the ship steady until a takeover does eventually go through. But I know we're going to be talking about Steve Bruce's future, aren't we?
A little, I wouldn't say massively, but we can bring it up because what we'll do is we'll bring Jake in as well, who's been patiently waiting. Hiya, Jake. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm good.
What do you think that the job that Steve Bruce has done so far this season? You've got to go past the expectations, surely.
Yeah, he's been decent if you think about it.
Give us a score out of 10. What would you give him right now?
Probably an 8.
An 8. Kyle, would you
I'd
along
agree.
that?
I'd agree. We've had a lot of good moments this season. I mean, Spurs away, beating Chelsea, drawn against Man City. We've had a good couple of moments under him. I know it's been frustrating with the wing back system and such, but we've started to change that as of late. And we actually look pretty good at the minute, barring obviously Aston Villa. But I'd say he's exceeded expectations. I don't care if you hate Bruce or not, but he's definitely exceeded what he was supposed to do at the club.
Jake, what's your highlight so far this season under Bruce?
Probably Man United win. Matty Longstaff, Brian
I'm
Broughton.
just saying that because Kyle's on here with an NH.
At 8:29.
You know, it's not the first time he's mentioned that. You probably picked that up, Jake.
No, I never. It's the first time, so if you didn't know where I was from, mate.
And Jake, what's been the low points for you?
Probably Leicester. It was my first away game.
That was your first.
Hey.
Well,
And my
that's
birthday
painful.
weekend.
I'm sorry, mate. Jesus.
yeah, Kyle loves Leicester as well.
It's a wonderful place. It's a wonderful place usually, but not that weekend. It wasn't.
And Jake, who's been Bruce's signing of the season so far?
Definitely Maximin.
Yeah, he's got to be, hasn't it? Who's been the best player?
Fernandes.
Fernandes. Wow, not Dubravka or saint-maximin.
No. Dubravka's let a few slip.
Who's the better defender, Kieran Clark or Florian Lejeune?
Kieran Clark.
Yes, lads.
Oh God, yes.
You can come on more often, Jake. But before I let you go, quick question around Manchester City then. It's a big task, isn't it?
Very big.
How do you think we're going to set up?
I think we're going to have to be quite defensive. Like,
How we're going to get hammered?
I don't think so, no.
Do you think we can get something out? Well, I say get something. We've got to get 90 minutes and straight to penalties. Do you think that's a realistic target?
Maybe, yeah, because they didn't do well yesterday, or whenever it was, against Chelsea.
Yeah,
the defense. Yeah, the defending was a bit of a shambles.
I'm going to ask Kyle this later on in the show, but would you start Andy Carroll?
Yeah, I would. And then Joe Little on the left.
Joe Little on the left? So
Yeah.
where would you put Miggy and Saint-Maximin then?
Miggy, same position at Cam, and then Maximin on the right.
Interesting, that one, then. Very interesting. Jake, I hope to get you on the reaction show on Sunday, so please come back on. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I see that, Jake.
Right, and so, yeah, good talk. If you just want to come on, please do. We do have a couple of waiting. We'll come back to you guys, which is Thomas and Tom. Tom, if you can show your picture so we know that it's genuine, we'll get you on. We'll crack on with the other news as well, Kyle, as you probably tell, I'm winging this a little bit. But obviously we talked about how well Steve Bruce has done. And I want to talk about a few of release players first. I want to hold off Rob Elliott just for a second. But you obviously with Jack Cole back, it's not a surprise. It's been hanging around for a while now. But Jamie Sterry, a local lad, 24-year-old, it's time for him to move on though, isn't it?
It's a sad one because honestly the lad has unbelievable work ethic and he's got unbelievable determination, but I've said this before on the Black and White show in the past where there was a season under Rafa where Yedlin was having the worst time of his career. Manquillo wasn't at the level he is now, and there was just that time for Jamie Sterry to come through and really prove himself, but he never got that chance in that time from Benitez. And I think it cost him any chance of wearing a black and white shirt, to be honest. And now he's 24. There's that question of his age. Is he too old or whatnot? It's a shame because, as I say, as a local lad, it's always sad to see them move on. But I think he is going to be one of them players that goes away and really proves we're wrong because he is a good right back. He's proven it at a lower level. And I just hope he can go back to lower level, prove his worth, and make sure that the hierarchy at Newcastle have made the wrong decision. I'm sure there'll be another Geordie soon if contract negotiations that'll do that. But I'm hoping Jamie Sterry will manage to do that.
You just got a bit of love again for your shirt there off Jonathan.
Oh, I need to wear this more often, man.
You've got to start wearing. You and Sam just need a video competition. We should just crop them all down every week. Tune on me TV short. Yeah, hello lads. Even the lads will start to White Gale Sunday. Yeah, we'll talk about the preview a little bit later on. Who would just start up top, and Lawrence as well. Yeah, I can't say sorry, proving us wrong personally. Thomas will get you on very shortly. We're just staying on the contract situation at the moment. But Kyle Rob Elliott, I know you wanted to touch upon it when I done the video last night, and you talked quite heavily about it. 9 years at the club now, and obviously Bruce has been given a bit of credit, and it is a shame, but it's the right decision, though, isn't it?
It definitely is. He hasn't played for how long, Lee? And that it is a damn shame because he came up here from Charlton on deadline day. I think we signed David Santon on the same day, and nobody had any expectations for Rob Elliott. It was a bit like, oh well, Tim Krul's here, and so Steve Harbaugh. If there's injuries, then Elliott might get a game here and there. There wasn't much expectation for him at all, but he's definitely leaving with his head held high because when he's came in, he's very rarely made a mistake. There's certain games I can look at where he was absolutely unbelievable. I mean, the Bournemouth one springs to mind under Steve McLaren, where we went down to Bournemouth and we somehow picked up a 1-0 win through an Jose Perez winner. And the person that won with that game was Rob Elliott because he made like 8 or 9 really good saves that day and kept from getting absolutely slaughtered. And if we had got slaughtered that day, we would have deserved it. But Rob Elliott was a fantastic professional. He took to the city, he took to the fan base, he took to the football club, and I know he didn't want to leave. I know his mum worked there. I know his mum does like plant pots and that on their time out. I think it's the car boot sale that they do every Saturday and Sunday, close to where I live as well. So it's going to be sad to see him go, and I really hope he manages to seal a spot as a main goalkeeper for one of the clubs up here because I know he wants to stay up here and keep the house that he's got on in time out. So I wish him all the best. It's a sad one, but it's obviously the right decision because he hasn't played.
Yeah, I totally agree. Let's bring Thomas in. Thomas, how are you doing? Thomas, can you hear us? Can't hear you, Thomas. Try and fix your mic out whilst I speak to Kyle about a possibly Rob Elliott's replacement. Kyle, what do you make of the story? Mark Gillespie, who used to be on our books as a youngster, and he's very strongly worded, rumoured for a good few weeks now that he might be coming at the club. I don't personally know him.
I don't know much about him either. I've done a little bit of research. He's played for Motherwell, and he's played for a couple of teams up in Scotland. No, he's played for a team up in Scotland. He played at Walsall and Carlisle. I suppose for a third goalkeeper, it's one of them. It's exactly the same expectation I have for Gillespie as what I had for Rob Elliott when he first came in the door. So it's pretty much the same kind of thing. If he gets a game because of injuries, then see what he can do. It'd probably be a dream for him because I know he's a local lad and things. Another local lad, and I think it ticks all the boxes what we need. It's a solid signing, and those on Twitter that have said it'll affect the takeover and things like that. Don't be silly. It won't affect the takeover. No way. Because there's certain people. There's a couple of people that says it might because of transfer embargoes and things like that. I think they've been playing a bit too much of Football Manager, to be honest. Because obviously, when you go for a takeover on that, you have a 2-week period where you can't sign anyone. So I think people have just looked into it a bit too much. I don't think there's any problem there though. But yeah, it's a solid signing in my opinion.
Another Geordie coming through as well. We seem to be getting a few. Thomas, can you hear us? Still can't hear it, Thomas. Thomas, come back out and come back in using the link, and we should be able to pick you up. We'll crack on. This is technology at its finest while it's alive. And staying on the contract situation as well, Kyle, I want to bring up Isaac Hayden because Steve Bruce was talking about him today. Well, I say today, it was a few days ago about him possibly he wants him to sign a contract extension. Obviously, he's been on this long-term deal since he came into the club in the Championship, and he was probably, in no disrespect to Hayden, a bit of an unknown because I didn't know much about him when he first joined. But Steve Bruce, I can see on the graphic there, talking very highly of him and wants to bring him into the club. Got to tie him down because we don't have many specialists who will sit in front of the defence.
No, we don't. Isaac Hayden has went from strength to strength as a player since he came into Newcastle. Obviously, he had that personal issue that he had at the back end of 2018, early 2019, and obviously there was videos made on this channel where maybe it was time for him to leave, but ever since then, man, he's went from strength to strength, and he's really made that position that Diarmé left his own. He's a defensive midfielder. He's great at putting the tackles in. He complements every other midfielder as well, which I don't think there's a midfielder at Newcastle partnership-wise that can do that, barring the Longstaff brothers, because they know each other inside out. But Isaac Hayden to me is so unique because he's just the best defensive midfielder we have. In fact, he's probably the only good defensive midfielder we have, because you try and ask any. I mean, I'm not a fan of Bentaleb, to be honest. So I think you need to do whatever it takes to keep Isaac Hayden here. It seems his personal issues have been put aside now, and I think they've sorted themselves out. So if Hayden's happy to sign on and stay at Newcastle, absolutely make it happen.
100%. Right, let's try Thomas again. Thomas, can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Oh God.
Fantastic. How are you feeling, Thomas? How are you doing?
Good, you?
I'm a bit burnt, but apart from that, yeah, I'm enjoying the weather. What's your stance on Isaac Hayden? Has he got to sign a long-term deal? Is that a must?
Yeah, I don't think we should sign Bentaleb on that deal. I think we should just get rid of him when the summer comes around. Keep Isaac Hayden and Shelby in the middle, and then hopefully the Longstaff brothers can show something magic in the future.
Well, you say the Longstaff brothers because obviously both NA 29s. Are you confident that Matty will sign that deal because he's got a short-term deal extended to the end of the season? Are you confident that he'll stay on a longer term?
I'm not that confident, but I think he will because he's from the local ends, and if he goes, he won't get any game time. I don't think, unless he goes to a League One or League Two club. I think he wants to stay at Newcastle with his brother.
Oh, I think he's better than League One. Howard Thomas.
And a League One or League Two, because a Premier League team won't really take him.
I think a championship. Maybe
championship.
Championship. Yeah. And what about, do you think about the release players? Are you happy with it? Who's gone? Who's left the club?
Yeah. Jack back, doesn't matter. Jamie Sterry, not that good. He's alright, but Elliot, he hasn't had a game in about 2 years. So not that bad.
And do you watch any of the under 23 lads? Do you ever catch up on what their progress they're up to?
Sometimes I watch some highlights, but nothing much like games or nothing. I've watched them before the training ground, but that's it.
Okay. Score predictions, come on then. How we're going to get on this Sunday? And he's gone. He's left us.
He's gone already. Doesn't want to know score predictions, Lee. I'm scared of them as well. I might turn off.
Because we'll come on to Manchester City shortly, but let's move on. And it's still on the contracts as well. I wanted to bring this up because it wasn't really mentioned this week, Kyle. Is that he's not on the release list, and he's also not on the retained list as well, which was interesting. Do you think now Dan will sign at least a 1-year contract extension?
I thought he already did. When they won the league, I'm positive it was in the Chronicle that he signed a new deal, 1-year extension. So
I haven't seen it, so that's why I brought it up. Let's say in hindsight, you have.
Well, it would have came up if he was released. So it'd be stupid if they released Dan Balazar. They need to give him a chance. What's his postcode, Lee? Was it NE36?
No, he's at NE39, boys. Back over our own still.
NE39 lad. So top man. He's done really well at Rotherham, and I think it'd be stupid if they didn't give him at least a chance. They are allowed to play under 23 players. So for me, I think this lad needs at least a chance. Give him a Premier League game towards the end of the season. Why not? See what he can do.
Do you think it'd be criminal if he gets ahead of Matty Longstaff, though?
I haven't seen the lad play yet. It'd be healthy competition. But then again, it depends if Bentaleb stays as well, because you'll have Dan Balazar and Matty Longstaff and then Bentaleb.
Bentaleb blocking their path.
Yes, absolutely. I think it was a mistake to sign the lad, personally. I don't think he's good enough to warrant taking the place either. To be honest, Bentaleb reminds us a lot of Jack Colbeck. He really does. He's side on and backwards. He makes silly fouls, and his passing ability going forward's not very good. And I wouldn't care, when he signed, I was really happy about this thing, 'cause it was like he was a young upstart at Tottenham. He did well there. Not working out for him at Schalke, but other than that, he was doing pretty well. But I've seen him play, and it's just not for me. Like, I hope he goes on to prove us wrong, but probably not. Like,
Lawrence was going to be coming on and says that Barley's deal runs out next year. But I must have missed that then if I haven't seen that news. Paul's just saying, very nice lad, but not good enough. I think Yedlin is off this summer too. We'll just wrap up and we'll see if we can bring Thomas back in for some score predictions as well. Toon Army TV, Dan Barleza must stay. He's a promising lad who needs to get a chance in the first team against another Geordie. Imagine if we get Gillespie and Dan Barleza stays on. You're talking 6 or 7 Geordies in the first team, and we were complaining 12 months ago. We had literally one, which was Paul Dummett. But yeah, so obviously, we extended Barley's contract, as Paul has mentioned as well. I must have totally missed that. Rohan Bentaleb is a Poundland version of Mikel.
cracking comparison, to be fair.
Please, if you want to jump on, please do. We're not that scared. We will try and bring Thomas in again. Thomas, can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Yeah, we're just going to get your against Manchester City. Then, so how do you think it's going to go down this weekend?
I've said it all the time. 1-0 win.
Wow, you're that confident.
Early game goal. Go on like Newcastle do against big clubs. Sit back from the rest of the game. Just defend. Go 6 at the back.
6 at the back.
6 at the back.
Where are we? We're not Scotland. You sound very optimistic about that, but Manchester City a little bit wounded after the result against Chelsea.
Yeah, they'll be a bit down about the Premier League, but they're probably even going to win it anyway. So
interesting. Right then, okay. Well, Thomas, who's scoring the goal before we let you go?
I think John Joe Shelby.
Yeah, he scored against them earlier on the season, didn't he, with that marvellous finish? Mind you,
Yeah.
Kevin De Bruyne likes the odd world he has, as we've seen the other day, and St James's Park. But 1-0 win. Thomas will win 1-0 win. You can have all the show to yourself on Sunday. It's all yours if we win 1-0. Right, Thomas, thank you very much for coming on tonight.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Right, ta-ra.
Yeah, Thomas.
Right, we shall crack on. Lawrence, we can see you hanging about. We'll get you on in a couple of minutes. Anybody else who wants to join, there is a link in the stream. Please pop on. We're going to, again, carry on from the past 7 days. And it's, of course, the big two, which signed, of course, Kyle. Obviously, we've done a video talking about it a little bit last night. But 4-year deal for Manquillo, does that surprise you?
The length of the contract does. Signing a contract, no. Manquillo this season has been unreal. I think he's been the only good right back in the last 2 seasons. Because you look at the other right backs, and I've said in the past I rate Yedlin, but he's on a massive decline in the past year and a half. He just hasn't been good at all. He's probably had 2 or 3 good performances in that time period. And Emil Croft is Emil Croft, so Manquillo's had a really good chance to make that spot his own. And he's took it with both hands. He's been solid defensively and going forward. He's got a good engine on him as well. He never looks to get. He doesn't really look like he gets tired. So I think it's a really good move for Newcastle to time to a deal, because there were other teams snooping around in January, like say Brighton and West Ham. So it's a good move for all parties concerned. I'm just surprised at the length. I thought it would only be like a 2-year extension or something like that. But he's got his long-term future. I mean, Newcastle do need a right back in the summer. Don't get us wrong, because I think I agree with Paul in saying Yedlin will be out the door, and I think Croft will have to go out on loan because he's not good enough for the first team. So Manquillo will be healthy competition for the right back that comes in the summer for sure.
Andy Carroll, I think you were one of those with me that were in favour of Andy Carroll coming off the bench, because he's a bit of a totally different to what most people have in the Premier League. Owen, we're going to talk about Victor Fernandez very shortly, actually, but staying on Andy Carroll, are you happy that he signed as a 1-year contract extension?
Yeah, absolutely. As I say, mate, off the bench, he's an effective player to have. And Steve Bruce actually summed it up quite well. He says when Andy Carroll's fully fit, he's a fantastic player to have around. He's a leader. He gets the club, gets the fan base. He knows what it means. It's just keeping him fit is the problem. But He's an option off the bench. 10 minutes to go if you're chasing the game. You can get that. You can hold a ball up. You can head a ball well. So yeah, it makes perfect sense to have a 1 year rolling contract. You don't want to give him a too long of a contract because of things with his injuries and things like that, and they could get worse or whatnot. But it makes sense to sign Andy Carroll to a new deal. We still need a centre forward in the summer though, definitely.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think, as I talked about on Fordy's stream earlier on, I think you've got to give Joe Linton competition. Andy Carroll's not, but he's a hell of an option off the bench. What we'll do is we'll bring Lawrence in. Hi, Lawrence.
Hey guys. All right.
How you doing?
Good. How are you guys?
Not bad.
Good.
You enjoying the weather?
Yeah.
I see you've still got your lockdown here.
Yeah.
Right, I want to talk about Victor Fernandez first of all, Lawrence. He's the biggest name out of the under-23s to be released. You watched some of the under-23s, so you're the perfect guest as well. Are you disappointed for the lad?
Yeah, I remember a couple of years back, pre-season game when we played, was it Royal Antwerp? It looked really good. But I just think injury had last season kind of got the better of him. As for the other lads, Charman, I think he's 22, just a bit older. I'm not surprised at him. Gibbs, I think I really feel for him. You know, he's had a bit of off the pitch issues. As for Harker, again, no surprise. You know, he's 21 and he hasn't even tasted League Two football, let alone the level he should be at that age.
Yeah, it's a shame for these lads. Obviously, three of them are local, and obviously I think Victor Fernandez will go back over to Spain. I'm devastated that he's not signing on because he's a hell of a talent, but just injuries have proper slowed his career down, and it's a proper shame for him because his legs seem to go every few months. Maybe he's too quick. I don't know the reason behind that. Also, just want to talk about before we move on to Manchester City. Peter, I can see you hanging about in the background as well. How's it going to go down, Lawrence, first of all, this weekend?
Against Man City?
Yeah.
I think it'll be a 2-1 loss. Usually I predict a 2-goal win for Man City, and it'll be obviously a lot harder without the fans, but I get the feeling we are going to get a goal.
I'm going to put the lineup from what we had against Villa. Would you change any of that?
I'm not sure whether to go with 5-4-1 because it's Man City or 4-2-3-1. If it's 4-2-3-1, I'd start Gale because he'll have confidence after scoring. With Jolinton, I feel like it's a bit harsher drop him when he's just scored last weekend. So maybe he's put him on the wing. Matt Ritchie. I think Bentley I'll bring him in. I don't think Hayden's going to make it, and I think the Longstaffs, I don't think they'll be fit enough for a start. It'll be a good chance for Bentley to shine. I think he'd do better in this formation than the 5-4-1. But I'd probably keep it the same. I really hope, though, he doesn't play Carl Darlow this time.
Yeah, you've got to go for Dubravka, haven't you?
Yeah.
What do you make of since we've come out of lockdown, Lawrence? We've picked up 4 points from 6. You probably would have thought we might beat Villa and draw against Sheffield United, but it's the other way around. But are you generally happy with the performance, and 2, the results?
I was definitely happy with the performance against Sheffield United. I know they went down to 10 men, but I still think we'll win the game even without the red card. Against Villa, we weren't good enough in the game. I do think we'll raise it against Man City. This kind of feels like all these fixtures where we always give 100%.
Okay. We'll keep you on, Lawrence, because we're going to bring up Brucey's press conference from Maiden Tiny We Are, and this is a couple of minutes long. Back in a couple of minutes.
You're watching the Black and White Show with Newcastle Fans TV.
Newcastle United take on Manchester City on Sunday in their first FA Cup quarter-final for 14 years. Manager Steve Bruce believes his side have put together a good run of form and can pull off a shock.
Well, all we can do is just, things above us we can't influence. But what we can do is influence what goes on the pitch. We've put a decent little run together to out of lockdown to come and get 4 points out of 6. we might even made it 6 out of 6, but you know, a rare defensive lapse, unfortunately, and we've conceded a poor goal. But overall, I've been very, very pleased the way we are. We've got 1 or 2 knocks and niggles and injuries this morning. We'll have to see how few are, but on the quiet, we've done okay. Well, I mean, you know, it looks as if they're going to be runners up in the Premier League, and they're not like that. And the one thing they have been over the years now is serial winners there. You know, whether it's the FA Cup or the League Cup, which they seem to own that one. You know, they're a very, very, very good, very, very good side, and as I said, we'll have to be at our best.
Bruce is well aware of the level of opposition that his side are facing, and after their defeat to Chelsea on Thursday, City have officially surrendered their crown as Premier League champions. However, with the League Cup already in the bag for the away side, Bruce knows the Magpies will need to be at their best to get a result.
I think the mindset has got to be, you know, the same. Whenever you play Man City, you know that you're going to have to be your best. Look, they've got some of the best players in the world performing, and that's what makes them pretty formidable, and especially the way they play. So whether it's the FA Cup, whatever competition it's in, Man City these days are the real deal. So we're going to have to be at our best. We've managed to be somewhere close to it against them earlier in the season. Let's hope we can reproduce that and see if we can pull off a shock.
Want to get something off your chest? Interact with us in the live chat and WhatsApp us your messages on 0747 649 7166. This is The Black and White Show.
So unfortunately, we're not doing any WhatsApps tonight because this is the last minute stream whacked together. Lawrence, 2 things then. How are we going to win this game?
Well, we kind of have to hope that Man City have a bit of an off day. I think another thing that's probably going to help them in this tie is the fact that if this was played on the original date, they would have just played Real Madrid in the Champions League. But now the Champions League for them, they don't have to worry about that until August. But I think just need to defend, be on our guard defensively. I mean, we should be at our best every game, but if we're not giving 100%, likelihood is we'll get hammered.
Last question then, the second one is an empty stadium. You obviously talk about the crowd just there. That would have helped Newcastle. It could have been the 12th man, but with an empty stadium, do you think now our chances are even more slim?
Absolutely. Usually would be for most games, but especially against Manchester City, because this is a game I would have been looking forward to the most throughout the season. I mean, probably since this would have probably been like our biggest night in the Gallagher in terms of like a pre-match build-up, maybe since the quarterfinal against Benfica. But in terms of that, must be maybe since we smashed Preston 6-0.
Fingers crossed that Newcastle get a positive result. Lawrence, thank you very much for coming on tonight.
Thanks, guys.
We might see you on the weekend if you're popping on. Right, and Kyle, so we'll get your thoughts before I play another clip from Tiny Ware, then we'll bring Pete on as well. Who's the star player for us? Who do we need to get on the ball?
What against City?
I know who you're gonna say. Can I just put him on screen?
Well,
You say it.
It's got to be the flying winger Fernandez, hasn't it? No seriousness. It's got to be saint-maximin. I think he gets on the ball and players immediately have to take notice defensively. I mean, you look at Villa; they were shit scared of him for a lot of that game, and although he didn't score, they were petrified of him constantly. He's got that aura about him now that Adama Traore has about him at Wolves, where when he gets on the ball, you're like, right, something's going to happen. Fireworks are going to go off. He's just a live wire all the time. Fantastic footballer. And in most games this season, the stats speak for themselves. I mean, we've only won 1 league game without him this season, Saint-Maximin. So for me, he has to start and he has to play well if we're going to get a result against Man City.
Where do you play him though? Because if you play him out wide, is he going to track it back?
It's a difficult one because in the wing back system, he's usually so deep he kind of like make an impact on the game. But in this 4-2-3-1 system, he's been he's been really good because he's been that far up the field, and the midfield have held the midfield well enough for him to play that attacking role. But when we went 4-4-2 at the weekend against Villa, Maximin was getting deeper and deeper and deeper, and he was making less and less of an impact on the game because we were just hoffing it up to Carroll, and that's probably a bad side of having Carroll on the field. And starting Carroll at the weekend, it might affect Maximin's game. So the question is, the comments seen before, do you put him in number 10 to try and cause that bit of problem through the middle? It's a tough one. It depends whether he goes wing backs or not. If he goes wing backs, then I think you play him just off the striker. If you play a 4-2-3-1, which would be stupid, but if he does, then he's normal position on the right hand side.
Cool. Let's move to a clip before we bring Pete in, and this was me earlier on Tinyware TV.
You're watching the Black and White Show with Newcastle Fans TV.
The FA Cup returns after the competition was halted by the coronavirus lockdown, and for Newcastle United, they'll face current holders Manchester City. City have just lost their Premier League title and could be out for revenge, but the Magpies are unbeaten since football's return, beating Sheffield United and drawing with Aston Villa. Newcastle are 6-time winners of the competition but haven't lifted the FA Cup since 1955.
So Newcastle take a break from the Premier League and it's over to the FA Cup. Manchester City, who had an eventful night the other night against Chelsea, didn't they? But will they be wounded animals? I hope not. Can Newcastle take advantage of that? I hope so. But what side does Steve Bruce go with? Does he mix it up? Does he start Andy Carroll or Dwight Gale after impressing off coming off the bench? Playing the same side 3 times in a week is a big ask.
Newcastle will go into the game as underdogs and they'll have to be tactically spot on to beat Pep Guardiola's team. They'll also have to do it without the ferocious backing of what would have been a packed St James's Park, but stranger things have certainly happened.
I'm not expecting Newcastle to beat Manchester City, unfortunately. Sorry, it would not be optimistic here, but they're a class side, and if Newcastle hang on in there for a longer period, I think that'll make Manchester City more frustrated. I could see Newcastle parking the bus effectively. I can't say we're going attack and flow in football, nah, because Manchester City will play us off the park. But, you know, it's a little bit of hope that we're still in the FA Cup. If we can get it to penalties, then it's a lottery. But that's probably my best aim at the moment. I'm hopeful, but I think Manchester City will go past us, unfortunately.
Want to get something off your chest? Interact with us in the live chat and WhatsApp us your messages on 0747 649 7166. This is the Black and White Show.
Yeah, Manchester City will go past us, unfortunately. Before we get Pete in, and what we'll do, Kyle, we'll substitute you. We'll bring a double in because we've got a few people waiting as well. But before we do that, okay. Our fantastic membership programs. Tell me all about it, Kyle. Sell it to me.
Which one do you want to know about first, Lee?
Facebook, because you probably know more about the Facebook one.
Right, Facebook. The Facebook membership is spot on. All the way from Newcastle Fans TV are chipping in on a weekly basis, no, on a daily basis on there. All giving away updates. Sam gives an update from his car with his beautiful shades on. Paul in his van, ranting as he goes up and down the M1 to Newcastle back to Spenny. Me, whenever, because I post the least on there, don't I? Rob posts statistical videos. And I'm trying to fit. Johnny has a couple of original series in there as well. So it's fantastic little membership for only the price of what, $3.49 a month, Lee?
It is. We'll bring you some news later on in a couple of weeks about the group because we're going to enhance everything. But the YouTube stuff is first look at all of our vids, exclusive posts, stats, and also exclusive videos just for memberships as well. And then, of course, we've got Amazon, Free Retro, and BR52, a fantastic sponsor. So thank you very much for helping us out. If you want to get your retro shirt or you just want to buy anything from Amazon or even want to get some free beers, BR52 is for you. And, of course, NFTV Extra, our second channel, which we've been pushing a lot the past 30 seconds, the last 30 days or so. And we've been battering it. Paul has. I've seen Kyle's done a few videos. I've done a couple up there. We've got the Green and Mulner Greenwood, sorry, and Mullinash short as well. But yeah, so there's some fantastic stuff. Let's bring Pete in. Hiya, Pete. How are you doing?
How you doing? Yeah, not too bad, thanks. Not too bad.
I've seen your face somewhere before tonight.
yeah, two times in one night.
Oh, you're two timing already. What's your bird going to say?
Yeah, my wife's in the next room. She won't be too happy about that.
I know you can with me two in one night. Kyle, I'm going to substitute you, and I'll bring you back in shortly.
Right, spot on. No.
And we'll bring in Sharky as well. Hiya, Sharky. How you doing?
Yeah, how's it going, Lee lad? You good?
Not bad. I'm a bit warm. Yourself?
Warm? Oh, that's an understatement. Absolutely boiling, man. But getting through it, as you do.
It is very, very warm. Right, lads, we're carrying on the Manchester City theme. I want to bring up some injury scares first, Pete. Is that when Steve Bruce was talking about Hayden and Richie, are you concerned that they don't make it this weekend, Pete?
I am. I have to be honest. It is concerning because both of them in the last couple of games have been two of our best performers. So for them not to be there in our biggest game of the season, effectively, is going to be a big miss. Hayden in particular, because of how well he's played all season, I think he's been fantastic, and he's the license for Shelby to go and play the kind of football that we want him to play, to be sort of the creative spark in the team, to play those balls in and behind, to play that ball that's going to create something special. And without Hayden, we haven't got anyone else that plays that type of role. So he's going to be a huge miss. I did think that Richie wouldn't potentially play anyway on Sunday, because I know going into the Sheffield United game he was touch and go with his hamstring. So I think it would have been a benefit to kind of give Lazaro a run out, because he needs games to prove himself. He's not really played much football, and what an opportunity to play on a bigger stage in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup.
Couldn't agree. You've got a lot of love there, positive Pete. We've got 40 in the comments as well. I think he's watching you to see what you say. I think he's a little bit worried about it. There you go. There's the love right there. 40's bottled it coming on tonight. I'll call him out. Don't worry, I'll get some stick on him off later on. Sharky. We're seeing two substitutes make a massive impact against Villa. What do you do with them? Would you bring Joe Linton out, or Carroll, or Gale? Who are you going with up top?
I've gone with Dwight Gale up front on his own, because the fact he scored a goal, he needs that confidence. Yes, we know he's championship standard. I get that, but we know he needs replaced at the end of the season. But for now, in the short term, I'd give him that start, because with that confidence, it's going to go into the Man City game. If he hadn't have scored, he had missed that opportunity, then it would have been a different story. I do understand why a lot of fans say Andy Carroll, because he did make a real impact in the second half when he come on. That link-up play with Dwight Gale, the visionised pass for that, for Gale's finish. For me, Joe Linton, yes, he scored, albeit a tap-in against Sheffield United, but for me, he still misses big opportunities. He doesn't really do enough for me. He doesn't put himself in the box enough. He's not a number 9, in my opinion. He's not a striker. He's more a left winger, in my opinion, but that needs to be addressed, in the summer. Otherwise, we're going to struggle. And it's only been where defence, that's pretty much bailed out on goals, and we're centre mid, sort of saint-maximin chipping in, doing a bit. Listen, we haven't done enough, up front, and it's tried and tested against Man City. It's a tough game, but Gale's got that bit of pace, hasn't he? You'll burst a gut, you'll do something, whereas Joe Linton, I just don't trust him in games like this.
Gale's got more movement. He's more clever in the box. He's got more instinct. We've seen it with Southampton. He got on the end of a lot of stuff. Granted, he didn't score, but he's got that killer instinct where Joe Linton hasn't got that. Pete, would you play 5 at the back? Positive Pete has frozen on us, Sharky.
I would have actually said, personally, I'll go 4 at the back. I'd stick with the same formation. Go for it.
He's moved. I was going to take a screenshot just to wind him up. He's moving. Are you moving, Pete? Hello, Pete. Earth to Pete. You moving, Pete? Positive Pete turned into negative Pete.
You're a nightmare here, Gilly.
Can you hear us, Pete?
Sorry, I've lost you 1 second.
No, we'll carry on. So, Shorty, would you play 5 at the back?
No, I wouldn't. I would stick with the same formation. It's been getting with results. We've picked up 4 points from the past 2 games. I would have loved 6, but listen, we've got 4 points. It's a great return. The lads are full of confidence, with this formation. Steve Bruce has changed it, and you've got to give him a lot of credit for that. And we're in a good moment. Let's not have any regrets going into this game. Yes, City are massive favourites. They've got a quality squad, and they're probably favourites to win the FA Cup alongside maybe Chelsea and Leicester and possibly Arsenal, Sheffield. But I don't know. I think we need to go for it. We need to express ourselves, and we need to show that we can go toe-to-toe with Man City. We did it at the start of the season. We drew 2-2. Listen, I'd rather not have those regrets of playing 5 at the back, and we still concede goals anyway. We did a lot of that before he changed it. Listen, just go for it.
Pete, can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry about that.
I was just about asking, would you play 5 at the back?
I would play 5 at the back, to be honest, and I think that's how he'll go. I think I mentioned to you earlier on that Bruce was so adamant to go back to his sort of 4-4-2 style, but before the restart for our first game, he did actually mention about the fact that he's got a couple of formations that he wants to try out, and I think this is the game that he does want to try out, and I think it's the one game where you would against a Man City that are wounded, that want to win a cup because they've lost out on the league now. And I think that's the way to go. If we're going to beat them, we're going to need to still be in the game late in the game to give ourselves a chance. We're going to have to be dogged. We're going to have to work hard. We're going to have to graft. And going with 4 at the back probably isn't the way.
Sharky, is Pep, obviously that would have hurt him not winning the title. Liverpool obviously that's not nicked it. They quite clearly won the league by a counter, but on the game, Chelsea nicked it. It's a very entertaining game against City, but Pep still has a lot to play for. He's still got the FA Cup. He's still got the Champions League. You want to end the season doing the double, and would that be a success for Pep Guardiola?
Of course it will, but they'll be questioning Guardiola at the Man City board. How come Liverpool won the league by so many points? But fair enough for Liverpool, they deserve to win the league. They've got a quality side, but Man City, the thing is, they've still got problems defensively. You could say that against Chelsea for the first goal, the way that mix-up, they gave the ball away and they scored, Chelsea. But for me, they've won the Carabao Cup. Of course, they're favourites to win the FA Cup, and they've got to get past us first and go from there. But they could also win the Champions League as well. They've still got an outside chance of that. So there's a chance, that they could still finish the season on a high. And it's not all lost for Manchester City. Liverpool, you've got to give them credit for the way they responded from last season, because that is a difficult thing to do. When you finish on 97 plus points, for me, that wins you the league. And that just goes to show how strong both squads are. The fact that Liverpool have done one better this time with 20 plus points. And Man City, I know what their intentions have been this season. It's been Champions League, the Cups. And they will be hurting. You're spot on with that, after what happened against Chelsea. But I think they've known for a long time that the league was up. They're just playing for points now.
Let's get some score predictions before we mix it up again. Pete, what we're going with?
I think Man City will win. I've gone for a 2-1. I think we'll score purely because their strength at the back is always questionable, even at the best of times. But with some of our attacking players looking solid, looking dangerous, particularly Saint-Maximin, I think we've got a chance of nicking a goal. But it all depends. It all depends on what Man City team turns up. It all depends on what their mentality is. If they're on it, it could be a very, very difficult afternoon.
Sharky, what we're going with?
I'm going to go for a 2-1 to the tune. Of course, I'm going to back with. At the end of the day, we're in a quarter-final. This is a huge game for the club, regardless of who we're up against. We've made it this far, and let's just leave with no regrets, and let's give it our absolute all. And as long as the lads fight for the shirt, then I'm happy with that. I think Saint-Maximin, he's going to be our key player in this game, trying to make something happen. I think he could score a couple of goals. And I think Man City, they will score from somewhere, maybe Jesus or someone like that.
Yeah, 2-1 win. I'm not that optimistic, man. I'm with Pete, unfortunately.
I'm trying to be positive.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
I'll take it. If you're wrong, you can run the show. But people. I was on Fordy's channel a little bit early on with Positive Pete. That's his nickname now. But yeah, thank you very much, lads, for both of you coming on.
No problem. Thank you very much for your time. Have a nice night.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Take care, man.
Right then, and we shall bring Kyle back in, and we'll bring a very stranger. Who's this bloke?
Harry, how you doing?
Bloody hell, James.
Not bad. Who is this person, Kyle?
I've just said James Fernie, mad. It's been a while, like.
I know it's been a while. Last year, wasn't it?
Sheffield United away.
Yeah, that was it. Totally. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great.
I came on. Yeah, I came on the what was it? The black and white show after the Southampton game as well.
Yes,
but, yeah,
did.
It's been a while. How you doing?
I'm all right. Just
good. Aye.
Yourself?
Good. Yeah, I'm fine, mate.
Right, you've probably heard what we've been chatting about tonight as well. With Manchester City coming to town, which isn't going to be easy. First of all, James, do you think having no crowd is a hindrance to us?
Yeah, 100% in my opinion. Basically because before the lockdown started and that, it was scheduled for a Saturday night, 7:30, which in my opinion at the time I thought of that and I think we can do this here. I genuinely thought we could beat them before this started with the lockdowns and that. But behind closed doors, I am one of the people who thinks it could be very, very difficult. I think we've seen with the Burnley game the other night, City just battered them from start to finish, just passed the ball around them and all that. So I think, it's going to be really, really difficult. And especially, obviously, in my opinion, City are going to be furious that they threw away the league to Liverpool. And I think they might want to be out to prove a point, or you never know, maybe they might not be on it. I think that's the $1 million question, to be honest. My honest instinct is that they'll probably be on it, which is bad news for us. But I am really up for this game. It's first game in a couple of years that I'm really, really looking forward to, and I just hope we win so bad.
Yeah, our record in the FA Cup was horrendous, and this is the furthest we've been in Ash's era. So, despite it not being any crowd there, it's going to be weird. But Kyle, do you see Guardiola making many changes to the game coming up?
Well, he's got the privilege to be able to, hasn't he? I mean, you look at Man City's 25-man squad. All 25 of them will get in Newcastle's first team. Like realistically, barring their third goalkeeper. So he's got plenty of players there that he can choose from. It's regardless of which Man City team shows up on Sunday, it's going to be a bloody hard game. Even at our very best, we might not even get through. So it's just a case where we need to have the right game plan, frustrate them as good as we have done in recent years. Because even when we went down to Man City last year, making trams and all that back in the day, if you remember,
loves a tram.
Even in them days, we did all right away from home, even though we were expecting to get a battering. We still had our heads held high and give a good performance and frustrated Man City. Took Kyle Walker, Rhaegar to beat with. So we just need to dig our heels in, play as good as we can defensively, and make sure our game plan's on point. Because if it isn't, James is right. It could easily be another Burnley situation from a couple of days ago where Man City just ripped through them.
I hope not. James, do you think playing three, if that is Hayden and Richie are fit, do you think it's too much to have the same lineup for 3 games running?
In my opinion, no, because basically the players have been off for 100 days. And in my opinion, there's no reason why these players can't play 3 games in a week. I think, in my opinion, we're safe. 39 points is enough. Forget all this 40-point rubbish. I think 38 points is enough to keep you up in the league. So, in my opinion, we rest players against Bournemouth and we go for it against Man City.
It's interesting. Kyle, are you in the same boat or are you disagreeing?
Well, I'll disagree that 39 points is enough to keep you up, because if we're the last time we got relegated would have needed 41 to stay up. But I do in this situation that way, and I do agree with James to some extent, because we've got nothing else this season. The FA Cup's the big one, So for me, it plays as strong a team as we can, but I don't see it being an unchanged side, mainly because of the Aston Villa game. I think Federico Fernandez and Jamal Lascelles have poor games, so they could be questioned as to whether they're dropped or not. Shelby had a particularly poor game. Almiron had a particularly poor game. Joelinton wasn't up to much. So there is a lot of questions around the squad that played against Aston Villa, whether you play the same again. Personally, I'd make a couple of changes, but it would be full strength.
It feels like an old school fan cam right now, says Paul.
Not quite.
James used to be on when we originally way back. It must have been about 4 years ago. James, wasn't it? When
it was in the Championship. I think it was Wolves Cup game. That was it.
Yeah, you looked about 10. You looked about 10 when we first got you on.
I know, I looked so young. High.
But James, if you were to change, would you be against Carroll for Joelinton?
Would I be against Carroll for Joelinton? No, absolutely not. I would actually start Carroll up front on his own. I would play a 5-4-1 formation. I disagree with the people that are saying you should play a back four. Reason being, especially behind closed doors, you go toe-to-toe with Man City, they punish you in that. So, yeah, totally.
Give us a score prediction then, James. What will happen?
2-1 City, I'm afraid. I would absolutely love it if we pull it off. But looking at it in hindsight, behind closed doors without a crowd, I think City will just have too much for us in the end, even though they are missing Aguero. Sterling likes to score against us, and De Bruyne scores against us, and especially if we have the likes of our midfielders like Hayden. Yes, he's been good, but sometimes he can give away daft free kicks on the edge of the box, and that's the key for me. We can't afford to give away daft free kicks, because you've seen the other night, if De Bruyne is on the end of a free kick, he'll punish you, put a top corner.
Yeah, it was a sensational free kick, and seeing it at St James Park when he had that hit, for me, that's probably up there for one of the contenders for goal of the season. James, if you want to pop on for the fan reaction show straight after full time, please get you on because you're a good talker.
Yeah, no problem, mate.
Thank you very much, James.
Thank you. See you, lads.
Cheers. See you later, James.
So that is, we're coming towards the end. I'll just fix the screen. There we go. We've got me and Kyle for the last few minutes. I'm going to try so hard to get a prediction out of them. I am going to try because, Johnny asks him, and I don't think Johnny's too nice. He doesn't push him. So, Kyle, what's going to happen on Sunday? No, instead of giving us a prediction, how's the game going to go first?
It depends how we're set up. I think if we'll go with what Sharky said and play 4-2-3-1, I think we will get butchered, especially with Gale up top. I know he's got a bit of confidence going about him with a goal, but that's one goal in several years for Newcastle. So for me, it's a bit of a nothing goal. For me, Andy Carroll's got to start up front, especially when you play the wing back system. It'll be interesting to see how we transition back to the wing back system if we go with it. For me, we've got to frustrate Man City like we have in the past, because we've got this thing where if we play well defensively, Man City really struggle, and we can hit them on the counter attack, and they tend to struggle. So if we can get the ball out to Maximin, get the ball out to Almiron on the counter attack, in the 2-2, they seem quite susceptible to it. It's just a shame Fernandinho is going to be suspended, because he was the one we exploited the most in that 2-2 game.
So for me, sorry, but in there, even for the win, he fouled Longstaff for the 2-1 win.
Exactly. So he hasn't had the best of games against Newcastle as of late. So it's gonna be interesting. We need to get the two quick wingers on the ball. Andy Carroll to hold the ball up for them. So play him as a deep forward and hold the ball and play these and keep these wingers in the game. But other than that, it is going to be a tough, dogged performance needed from Newcastle. I'm not going to give you a prediction. I think I'd leave that to the other lads. But if Newcastle can get the right game plan, we're the right kind of team to upset Man City. We've proven that we can in the past. So I'm confident we can get the game plan. But if we concede early on, it's going to be difficult, especially with no crowd. Because I know last time they scored after 30 seconds and all that happened when we beat them 2-1. But we had the crowd then, and it was a really good atmosphere that night. So it's a tough one. We kind of concede early, and we've got to have a good game plan defensively. But fingers crossed we can get to the semi-final there.
And also, I've just got to bring this up because it's been a bit of a theme the last couple of weeks on this channel, isn't it? That Fran Lejeune is currently 5th choice out of 5 centre back. Isn't that right, Kyle? Isn't Kieran Clark the better choice at the moment?
Personally, I think Kieran Clark's a more consistent choice. Lejeune just hasn't looked the same since his injuries. I think the most naturally gifted centre back we have that can do both jobs is Lejeune, because he can play a pass well, he can defend very well. When he first signed, if you remember, with partnered with Lascelles, he did brilliant. But those injuries, I think, have slowed him down massively. He's lost a yard of pace, and he made those mistakes at Christmas, and he just hasn't been able to get back amongst it. So it's a shame with Lejeune. He's good squad depth, and he's more than capable of stepping up that level again. It's just, I think Kieran Clark, the last time I seen him play bad was Notts Forest away. And in fact, while he's had a Newcastle shirt on, that's the only really bad performance I've seen him make. And
played out position.
He played at left back, and to be honest, I think he doesn't get enough credit, because you want your defenders to love to defend, and you have clubs even at the top 6 level, the likes of oh god, me thing's going off.
Hello. Hey,
is that you've got a prediction? No, I didn't think so, but no, I've totally lost my trail of thought with that one. But
I'll ask you one more question, because obviously I was just stirring the pot with Sam just to wind him up a bit. Tactics wise, do you think set pieces might come in if we do start Andy Carroll? How important is winning little free kicks around the box and getting many corners as possible?
It's got to be, because Stones and Otamendi are going to be the back 2, and I don't think they're as good as Andy Carroll in the air. So I think set pieces, just like they were when we were playing a wing back system in the Premier League, is going to be very important. I think Andy Carroll's got to be up. I think Lascelles has got to be up for corners and little things like that. Set pieces give every opportunity, but defensively on set pieces as well, we're not fantastic at the minute, so we've got to be careful on both. Ask Alexa. I'm not like her. She's already had enough input on this show.
Alexa's staying very quiet now because she knows. So Kyle's kind of predicted a little bit. It's going to be a very tough afternoon. That Newcastle, unfortunately, will not go out. We'll class.
Just don't go to penalties. That's not good for the heart rate. It's not.
Probably not, but it might be the best way of getting a result over them. But I'm going Manchester City to win 3-0. Unfortunately, I haven't got much hope.
The last time someone predicted we lost 3-0 was New Year's Day with Rob. So if you get that right, you're getting chinned when I see you.
When's it locked down? But yeah, I just think Manchester City are going to be too much for us. And I think we will change 1 or 2 people as my voice starts to go. And I've just heard Thunder and Lightning as well. So tipping my era. But that is a wrap, everybody. So thank you very much for all the guests for coming on tonight as well. We're having a day off from YouTube tomorrow. So we're going to all have a bit of a breather. But we will be back with your live videos on Sunday for fan reaction video. And then we've got scoring the players. And then we should hopefully get a Manchester City fan on. And then we'll have a few hours gap before the last word. But for Kyle, thank you very much for coming on.
No bother. I hope you all enjoyed the stream and me little interruption from Alexa. And I'll catch everyone soon.
Everybody, that will just be in time because it's only the 26th. So that'll be in the cuts. Thank you very much, everyone. Enjoy your night. Bye-bye.
Okay, neighbour. See you later.